The best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Sara Huff has joined me today. She's one of the most influential feminists of modern history in Brazil. She's now an ex-feminist, a Catholic, married, a mother, and promotes pro-life and traditional family values. Her story, you have to go back and listen to this episode, the podcast, relevantradio.com/trending, or wherever you catch your podcasts. We are there. Her testimony is one that needs to be heard and understood. The reality of feminism, and in particular with all of the training she received as a feminist internationally, how ultimately she was meant to protest against the Catholic Church and help people to be alienated from any faith-filled identity that gave them value. And she engaged in these subversion techniques as she was trained by former KGB Soviet intelligence agents in Ukraine. Now, I want to touch on how you came out of the radical feminist movement and being a leader. What was the catalyst for you leaving feminism?
Well, it was many things, but mostly one of the biggest reasons I was all about protesting for the abortion. Abortion was an important topic in Brazil because it's not legal, so we were receiving a lot of orders to protest in favor of the legalization of abortion. And then at the same time, I was like 21, 22, and I got pregnant. And then my feminist friends, they said, Sara, you are the biggest and most famous Brazilian feminist. You got to have an abortion because it's gonna sound really good for the movement. It's gonna be a good propaganda. It's gonna help us politically. And besides that, whatever is inside your belly, it's not a baby. It's just a clump of cells. It's just a blood clot, so we're gonna help you. And well, it's not legal in Brazil, but they helped me. And there's very fancy clinics where you go, where celebrity goes, and the disclaimer is I got an abortion, and the abortion I got, it was the chemical abortion with misoprostol, the same abortion that the World Health Organization say is safe, and it recommends. It's the same safe abortion that Planned Parenthood it's doing right now. And the streets of the Democratic,
the Democrat National Convention, they're offering it for free.
Exactly. So it was the same method. And they said everything will be fine. It's just some cramps. No, it was not. They said abortion was about empowerment. They said it was about freedom. They said it was about independence. No one said that I will have to go through 6 hours of labor. No one said that I will be in pain of labor, like delivery pain. That was the excruciating pain, and I was so scared. I was really scared. I regret it so bad. By the end of so much pain, to look in the toilet, inside the toilet, I didn't see a clump of cells or a blood clot. I saw my daughter, and that was extremely traumatic. And 10 days after, I got a huge bleeding. I was bleeding so much. I called all my feminist friends, like 7, 8, 9 friends, and they said, oh, don't worry, we're coming for you. And they never came. I was throwing up. I was passing out. No one came to rescue me. They literally let me to die. And the only person that actually broke into my house was my neighbor, a Catholic man. And I used to hate that man. Why? Only because he was a Catholic male. And that man that for 6 months was living beside me, that was the man that I used to hate, especially because his wife used to dress very modest, like with long dresses and skirts, and I was thinking, this patriarchal white male, it's probably so mean to her. And no, they have actually a beautiful family. And that man, he break into my house. He got me in his arms. He drove me to the hospital with his wife. And in the middle of me passing out, I can remember his wife praying the rosary. And they saved my life. And they took care of me as I was their own daughter for months. I suffered really bad post-abortion syndrome, but we can talk about it another time. That was the main reason. I realized that feminism was just using me as a political, ideological puppet for their own interest. I was just disposable for them, for the cause.
Sarah, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Praise God for our pro-life advocates, people who fight. We have just a minute left. Can you share briefly how you came in this 1 minute we have out of that feminism and out of that pain initially of that abortion?
Yeah, I think God gave me another opportunity. And 6 months later, I got pregnant again. I have my son now. Hector is almost 9 years old. He's my best friend. I got married again. And I have an amazing life being a mother and advocating for the true femininity. And I think my message for parents, it's feminism sometimes feel like a disease, a disease of the soul. And we have to understand that we need always to be around our children, and we have always to raise them for the world with good, great values, with prudence, with virtues, and teach them the difference between good and evil, so they will always choose what is the good and prepare them for the spiritual battle. I think that's and other message that I think that's really important, that we don't need any ideology to do good for the other. We don't need to be feminists. We don't need to be anti-racist. We don't need to be any of that. We just need to be good Catholics. That is enough.
Sara Huff, thank you for joining me today, for sharing your story. We're going to have to continue this conversation because how to save your daughter, your loved one, your wife, your friend from feminism. We're going to discuss that along with other parts of your story as well. Prayers for you, for healing, for your ministry, for your family. Thank you for what you're doing. If you'd like to learn more about Sara, you can find her. She now has 8 pages in English. You can find her at The Sara Huff. That's The Sara Huff. We'll include that in the episode notes. We'll be praying for you. Like what you just heard? Share it with your family and friends. And thanks for listening.